Hi, Blastpop here. Today I'm taking a look at Khe Sanh 68 by Decision Games. This is published in 2015, is a mini game. It includes 40 counters, 18 cards, an 11 by 17 map. It's designed for solitaire play and includes a rules flyer as well as a specific rules flyer for the game in question. It's a series game that uses the same basic rules and differentiates itself from other games in the series based on the map, cards that are used in the game, and the forces involved, along with any special rules for the particular game in question. So you can have a solitaire game from anything from World War II up to the modern time, as needed. Anyway, the blurb on the back of the baggie shows a complete reduced map, shows some examples of counters, a couple of cards, and then the specifics about the game. The scale is meant for one player, 1 or 2 hours. Very low complexity, very high solitaire. The game has gotten great reviews, so I thought that I'd take a look at it myself. Also included is a baggie to hold your pieces. What you will need to supply is D6 dice, any number you might need to roll for the battles in the game. Essentially, it's a card-driven game. During your turn, you will draw a card. Typically, depending on the game in the series, you'll play it, perform your actions. The opposition force, or Op4, will draw a card, perform the actions based on that card, and then that continues until the end of the game. In the case of Khe Sanh 68, it's 12 turns. And here's an example of the firepower of the movement. The arrow shows that's an elite unit, the type of infantry in this case. And these here are the system rules for aircraft firepower. So it's 4 pages of rules. Combat is essentially rolling a dice, 1 dice per strength point, and then comparing it to a table in the exclusive rules to determine the outcome. All pretty basic stuff. Rules for helicopters, opposition force reaction, airborne units, engineers if the games have it. Series design, Joe Miranda. There is no listing as to who the game designer is, presumably Joe Miranda. And then you have a fly sheet, front and back, with all the rules and charts you need to play the game in question. Rules for setup, how to win, airstrikes, gunships, replacements, fog of war, communists are face down. So combat, if you have an armor unit firing at a ground unit, on a 4 to 6 something happens. If it's another unit firing at ground units, 5 or 6, and it tells you what happens. It's all fairly simple. The system uses a point-to-point system. So you have the opposition force cards. Draw these randomly, and it tells you what it is you replace. In this case, you replace 1 eliminated communist unit and all communist units adjacent to the Khe Sanh firebase or rock quarry must move into those spaces. When it's done, it's discarded. So essentially, the communist repertoire in this game is 9 cards. The American cards, in their own little deck, adds special elements or capabilities. Operation Pegasus. And interestingly, the communists were trying to create another situation that happened many years in 1954, I believe it was, of Dien Bien Phu, improperly spelled. So the Allies were concerned about that, the force being invested and forced to surrender and be annihilated. They weren't going to let that happen. Included are 40 counters. On the reverse side, the games do a lot with not a lot. More with less. And here's the map. And you have your Laotian South Vietnamese border. You have Khe Sanh, it's a fire base right there. The Lang Vei base, the rock quarry base. Off here you have your Allied staging area. Squares are open spaces. Again, fire bases. Round or jungle spaces. Hill space. Communist bases. Ground routes. Again, the border. Communist entrenchments. And you have places for your forces, the opposition forces that have reinforcements have been eliminated, units that break off. All done very compactly. Quick play. The only quibble I have is they show the jungle spaces being green, but it would seem that the entire map should have maybe had a green hue, but that's a minor nitpick on it in any case. I'm looking forward to playing this very soon, and I may do one or more videos either at the conclusion of a game or turn by turn, depends on my availability for time in the near future. So this looks like it's almost a game you could almost play over lunch. It says 1 to 2 hours. I suspect you can probably get it in under an hour once you know the system fairly well. This has been Khe Sanh 68. Please comment, like, and above all, subscribe. This is Blastpop. Bye.